Hello dragonlings, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know, my name is Sky and I typically write paranormal romance under SD Hegyes. My first 2020 release, Damned and Desolate, is available through Amazon as an ebook, and if you are a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, you can read it for free. Today I wanted to take you on a tour of my author project tracker. I am one of those people that always seems to have a dozen tabs open, and I personally hate it. I have never really had a computer until now that can handle having more than one or two tabs open at a time. It can't process having a lot of documents open at one time. It basically freezes and just goes kaput or says, I don't want to help you. So that has remained with me, and even to this day, I do not like having a lot of documents open, but at the same time, I like having everything I need to work on in one place, probably for that reason. And so I created a master list of lists that work for me. But in order to show you all that, we have to hop on over to McGee, and I can take you on a tour of my author project tracker.
Now that we've gone over to McGee, I can go ahead and show you my project tracker. This is my project tracker for 2020, and it is created in Google Docs. Now, I do have to preface this by saying that I based some of these sheets off of a spreadsheet made by RJ Blaine, who is another indie author. I will leave links to her blog post where she talks about how she created her tracker, and she gives a detailed description of how to build hers, as well as screenshots to show what she actually did. I made mine based off hers, but as you will discover as we go through, I've added a lot of extra stuff, and I've also formatted mine a little differently because there was things that I didn't like about hers and other things I wanted to track. Let's go ahead and talk about this. The first sheet is the project list, which basically tracks all of the planned projects to work on, when they are start and finished, as well as the goals that we have for them. It tracks word count, it tracks how many days it takes to write a project, and whether or not that project is completed. I have these numbered 1 through 30, so this will track up to 30 different projects for a year. I did that because at the time I was planning on doing 12 short stories on top of the novels I wanted to write and the other projects I wanted to write. So I thought it would be best to create a tracker that would track a lot of projects at one time, but of course you can always add more if you would like to, or you can do less. As you can see from mine, I'm only got 13 right now. At the top, it has them labeled the project, because when I'm talking about projects, especially like if they don't have names, such as project 13 right here, I just call them project and whatever number they are when I started working on them. The next thing I have is project title, if it belongs to a series or not, what number it is if it does belong to a series. I have my start date as well as my deadline, the date I actually finish it, my word count goal. The final word count is actually a formula that is inputted based on some of the other sheets we will look at later. The number of days it takes to work on a project is also auto-calculated. The average daily word count is a formula calculation based on the final word count and the number of days it takes to write the project. And then of course, the done column just tracks whether or not a project is completed. The last 4 columns are all auto-calculated. They each have formulas in them that allow them to just pull information straight from the rest of the worksheet. So the only spaces you actually have to fill are the project title, the series, the number, the start date, the deadline, and the finish date, and the goal. Sorry, I forgot about the goal. Everything else in the spreadsheet is auto-calculated. The next sheet is the goals at a glance. It basically works like a yearly overview that allows you to see all of your word counts in one spot. On the far left, it has the month and the week, where it talks about what month it is and what week number it is. I like my weeks to start on Monday, so I have it labeled Monday through Sunday. And then the next 3 columns are the week total for all the days, whether or not the days are included in that month or not. And then the next is the week total, which are just for that month. The final column for the overview is the total for the month. And if you look down at February's word counts, you can see it at work. The other thing that's on this sheet is at the far right. There is a goal tracker for the beginning of the year. It auto-calculates your goal based on your project lists and the word count goals you entered there. It should start off with 0 words written because you haven't started filling it out. The words left is based on your goal minus the number of words you've written. Again, the projects completed and projects remaining are calculated based on your projects list, because again, you just started inputting things on your project list, so there shouldn't be anything there. And the projects remaining should be the total number of projects you have started filling out. Words written and the goal help calculate the percent of goal that you have completed. When you go down further, it has the overview for the entire year. But when you get to the end, there is an end of year goal that allows you to see your goal, which is again based on the project list, the percent of goal completed, how many words you have written for the year, how many words you have left to write for the year based on your goal, how many projects you have completed, and how many projects you have remaining. Now, if you are like me, you fill out the project list as you go, whereas RJ Blaine, the author I base my project tracker off of, she actually has her publication schedule planned out for 2 years ahead of time. So hers is filled out starting at the beginning of the year. So that helps with the goals at a glance for her, because she can see how much progress she's done for all of her projects at one time, whereas mine is constantly changing because I add projects to my project list as I'm working on them. The next sheet I have, I recently added right at the end of June, or right at the beginning of June or middle of June, basically, and that is a quarterly planner. This allows you to plan what projects you're working on for each quarter, where you are at with each project, whether they're in draft form, rewrite, self-edit, beta edit, or with an actual professional editor. And this has helped me basically label what I plan to work on. However, I created this as a way for me to help plan out projects when I was trying to set up the project list with all of my projects at one time versus just adding them as I worked on them. So I don't know how useful this will be for me in the future, but I keep it on here because it's good to have. The next sheet is the start of our actual word count tracker. And actually, I'm not going to show you January's. I'm going to show you one that I filled out a little bit more because I only worked on January's a little bit. So let me find one that I filled out a little better to help you understand this. Where's one where I worked on multiple projects? Okay, this is good. We're going to look at March's project. I have a sheet for each one of the months of the year. They are all the same. They have the month title at the top. This is the number of days that month has, which comes into handy later. It has the project information pulled directly from the project list that we were looking at earlier. So it's got projects all the way to 30. The titles are automatically pulled from the project list. It's got 2 columns on the left-hand side. One is a daily total where it adds up all of the columns, word counts for the day, such as where it shows I wrote 11,187 words for the day on March 8th, 8,069 of those in Damned and Desolate, and 3,118 in Damned and Dangerous. In the second column, it has the days of the month. It has a monthly total. It has an average word count per day. Again, it's auto-calculated. A lot of these are auto-calculated except for this section right here, which you have to fill out with your tracking numbers. This is also a section where it says complete. It pulls information from the spreadsheet before. So like March is pulling from February's, unless you complete a project in that month and then you type in the word yes, which automatically gets translated to the project list and is then pulled each sheet forward. So going back to March, we can see I finished Damned and Desolate on the 8th because I color it blue when I finish it. So I put that yes, I had completed it. And you can see in April, it automatically still pulls that information from the March sheet. The other information that I would like to look at is Okay, I hadn't started doing it yet. Let me find one where I started. We had to go all the way to August in order for me to find where I started doing it. When you're inputting your word counts, I actually like to input my word counts per sprint because I generally do sprints. So on the 11th of August, I did 4 sprints. I did a formula inside this cell where I calculated all of my sprint word counts together so that it equaled 1,614 words for that day. This was only something I started probably around June because I made a lot of changes to the way I did the spreadsheet in June. So this is a more recent feature, but I wanted to go ahead and show you that as a tip in case you decide to do that in your own spreadsheets. I'm not going to go over the rest of the monthly sheets. I just wanted to show you how each one worked individually. I've already jumped between a couple trying to show you different features of them. So the next sheet we're going to look at is the cover costs. This was another sheet that was not on RJ Blaine's original tracker. It was something that I have added in as a personal thing, but I wanted to track how many covers I have and what I'm using them for. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I have a tendency to purchase pretty covers that I like. I am a cover hoarder, and this isn't even a list of all of my covers because there's some covers that I already know that I bought back in 2017 that no longer work for the projects that I purchased them for. So I left them off this list because I'm going to be replacing them anyways. So on this cover cost list, I have the title of the project that I'm going to be using. The ones that are in quotation marks are the ones where it's still got placeholder text because I haven't actually come up with a title for the story. So is the title, the series, if it belongs to one, which artist I purchased the cover from, what I purchased, whether it was, these are drop-down menus with ebook, paperback, audiobook, ebook paperback combo, ebook paperback audiobook combo. So I have the formats of the covers I purchased, how much I paid for them. Every once in a while, some of my cover artists give me discounts, so I included a discount column. Some artists also let me give a tip, so I have a tip column. The total is how much I spent per cover based on the cost, the discount, and the tip altogether. And then the year column is just what year I purchased the cover. There is some more information I need to add in here because the Damned and Desolate cover, I've purchased some other pieces for it, so I actually need to update this with that information because I have now spent more than $215 on that cover because I have purchased other paperback formats as well as a hardcover format. So I've got to figure out how to change this to allow for that. But I will get there when I get there. The next tab and the last one I'm going to show you is where I track my titles that of projects that I'm working on. Now this is including all of my titles, not just the ones I want to work on for the year. So this is something I will just copy the whole sheet and transfer to the next year's sheet as I go along, because this is information I want to keep track of all year round for every project I'm working on. I've got the number over here. If it's in a series, it will be in order by its number. The title of the project, whether or not it belongs to a series, and if so, what the series title is. These are check boxes, so I can see whether or not it's been written, which actually that one's been written, that one's been written, and that one's been written. They all need to be re-edited. They all need to be edited though. I have an editing column, a cover column, whether or not I've purchased covers for it. And if I have purchased cover, there should be a cover designer next to that check mark. There's a column for whether or not the book is published. And then the next columns are all for ASIN numbers as well as ISBN numbers. I've got a column for ebook, paperback, mass market paperback, large print, hardback, and audiobook. These are all formats that I would like my books to be in, or they were at the time I created this spreadsheet. That's why those are all included. And I will use it to track ISBN numbers and ASIN numbers because I want to have those numbers in order to create clean links for people when I'm sending out information.
So that is all I have for you guys today. Is there a document that you guys use in order to track all of your projects at once, or other information that you think you need throughout the year? Do you like to keep it all in one place? Do you have multiple places that you keep it? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye, dragonlings.